Hi, third graders. So today our I can statement is I can identify helpful text features in an informational text. We're going to learn what those are, we're going to learn why they're helpful, and then when you read the story for this week, which is an informational text, you'll be able to identify those and look for them and realize why they're helpful, okay? Alrighty. Our first helpful thing that are in informational text, our first text feature is called a sidebar. A sidebar. I will show this a little closer in just one moment, but let me tell you what it is first. Okay. A sidebar tells you interesting facts or extra information that relates to the story that is being told. So, for example, this week we are reading a story about Mount Everest, an informational text about Mount Everest. So you're going to learn about that mountain, but sometimes there's going to be sidebars that give you extra information. It's not part of the normal text, it's just to the side, and it's like a fun fact. So let me show you that really quick. That is what a sidebar is, and you'll see that arrow is pointing to it. So sidebars are great because they tell you extra facts that you probably wouldn't have known if you just read the story by itself, okay? The next text feature in an informational text are images. Images in informational text are not quite pictures. They're not pictures that tell a story like in a narrative. Instead, these images help us understand. So, if a story is talking about butterflies, maybe there will be an image of the specific butterfly it's talking about. So if I'm learning about monarch butterflies, I'm sure that informational text will have an image of a monarch butterfly. Images are often followed with captions, and captions go underneath the image to tell you a little bit more about what that image is. Okay, here's an example. This paper only says image, but if you can see that picture down there at the bottom right there, it also has a caption underneath it. So that's an image of a monarch butterfly, and the caption says, "A monarch butterfly is attracted to the petals of a bright zinnia flower." So images and the captions that go with them help you learn even more about what you're reading about in the regular text, okay? The next text feature are called headings. Now I'm sure you guys know exactly what a heading is, right? You've seen headings in a lot of different things you read. And sometimes I have you read the headings and sometimes we forget. But headings are very important because the heading of an informational text tells you what you're going to be reading about. A lot of the times in informational texts, there are different sections of the text, different things you're going to be learning, and the headings above each of those sections separates them out and tells you, oh, this is a new section, I'm learning something new. Okay, so here's a picture of what a heading kind of looks like. It's that top one up there that the arrow is pointing to, okay? So what plants need? That is a heading. I now know in this next section, I'm going to read all about what plants need. I'm just kidding. Did I scare you? Okay. The next text feature are called subheadings, okay? Subheadings go underneath a normal heading, and they are smaller titles, right? They're underneath a big heading. They're smaller titles, and they break up those categories underneath a regular heading, if you can see what the arrows are pointing to. So sometimes underneath one big, large heading, right, there's going to be a smaller heading. There's going to be this one piece of information that's different from the next piece. So they have to be broken up with subheadings, all right? I know that's kind of hard. I didn't explain that very well. Do we get it though? The picture probably helped. Okay. The next text feature is called a diagram. Diagrams are a picture or an image of how something works, okay? So for example, I might show you a diagram of how a bicycle works. I will show you the pedals and what they do, things like that, all right? This diagram here shows you how the moon cycle works. So this is a diagram. You see, it's just a picture, an image, a drawing of how something works. That's all a diagram is, and they can be very helpful, right? Because if I'm telling you how the moon cycle works and I'm just explaining it, that'll be hard to understand, right? So I can add a diagram into my informational text to help you understand a little bit better. That's why diagrams are really nice. I love that I can pause these videos because I can start out in a weird way. Anyway, labels. Labels are the next informational text feature. A label goes with a diagram and it labels the different parts of it, right? So in this moon diagram that I just showed you, and I'll show you it again really quick. In this moon diagram, there aren't any labels on it, but I might want to label the sun, and I could draw an arrow to the sun and label it sun. Labels just help us understand diagrams a little bit better, right? They understand us what different pieces are part of the diagram and what they're called. Here's an example of labels. This is a diagram of the Earth, and the labels show me the North Pole and the South Pole. Okay, let's go to the next one. Our next text feature are called timelines. I'm sure you guys all know what a timeline is. A timeline is basically just a line, right? A line with different notches on it. Each notch represents a different time. A lot of the times we'll see timelines with years. So maybe you'll see, so here's a timeline of my life. I'll draw it. I'll draw it out actually, yeah. That could be fun. Okay, can we see my timeline? So, timeline gives you years, it gives you dates, and then what happens, right, in that time. So 1997, I am born. 2012, I meet Andrew. 2014, I actually like Andrew. I did not like Andrew when I first met him. I didn't like him at all. Anyway, 2015, I go to college. 2018, I get married to Andrew. 2019, I start teaching you guys. 2020, I have a baby and I graduate college. So this is a timeline of my life from when I was born to where we are now. And that's what a timeline shows you, okay? Timelines in informational text will look more like this. I know you can't read it because my arm is shaking, but that's what they look like. And they're really helpful because if I'm telling you about a historical story, right? If I'm maybe telling you about pioneers and I'm talking about their different wagons that they used and how long it took them to get places, I might want to use a timeline to show you when each wagon was made, when the new wagon was made, when they started in Nevada and when they got to California, things like that, okay? So timelines can be very helpful. Graphs are the next one. Graphs are sometimes shown in informational texts because they make it really easy to organize data, to organize information, and show you how they relate to two or more different things, okay? So graphs are really helpful if you are getting a lot of information about different things and want to see how they compare to each other. These are what graphs look like. You can have lots of different graphs. You can have a pie chart graph, which is right there in the top left. You can have a bar graph. You could have a line plot. You can have all sorts of graphs. But do you see how they help you compare the different colors? That's why graphs are important. Another way to organize data are charts or tables. These are a great way to show information using rows and columns, using an array. So it's kind of like charts. It shows you information. It shows you things like graphs do. But this way it's a lot easier for you to tell exactly what's going on. The last one that we're going to talk about are maps. Maps are really great because, again, what if we were talking about the pioneers and we wanted to see what the different trails looked like? Because there's lots of different trails, right? There's the California Trail, the Mormon Pioneer Trail, those are the only two that I can think of off the top of my head. But there's lots of different pioneer trails that they used. So maps could help you see the different trails and where they go, right? How they're different, how they're similar, where they start, where they end. So maps show locations of things that relate to the text you're reading. It's not going to just show you a map of the world, all right? Okay, now you know how to identify different text features. Text features are super important because they help you understand the informational text better. Without text features, informational text would be really hard to understand because it just gives you facts. It's hard to visualize informational text. It's hard to understand deeper without text features. Okay, I know that was a lot of information. Don't stress about it too much. The little quiz at the end is going to be really short, really simple. Alrighty. Look for text features as you read the story this week because they can be very helpful. See what they can help you learn. Okay, see if they can help you understand better. Remember, you are somebody, you were somebody when you came, and you'll be a better somebody when you leave because you're learning more each day and you're growing each day. All right, guys, I miss you. I love you. Bye.